Weehaw! And the new stream is running. Yeah. No, it's a different URL. Can't restart with the old URL. Let's see. So if anybody still has the chat room open from the previous, they might be able to pin or paste the new URL. Okay. Which is the /live. youtube.com/LWTDB/live. I didn't spell check that. Nope, it's not letting me put in a comment in the old chat on Baby Beast. All right, so how many people have rejoined us? 11 watching now, I'm seeing. Yeah, well, that's the specific URL, but the youtube.com/LWTDB/live would always get you to the current one. This morning, yeah, because actually I had the computer off overnight, which has been commonly the case during summer months. Yeah, right. Because it heats up this room. Let's see, what do we got now? 15 people are watching. So what I'm going to do about that is that, and even for other reasons, I'm going to order that internal capture device that I had ordered it previously and never put it in. And the day before the return date, I returned it, but I'm going to order that and see if that will solve this. Yeah. So with this computer being off, I haven't done Fortnite today. Haven't even opened the program, so it's not that. The only thing that's oddball here is the capture device. Well, is that the only thing oddball? No, I'm here. I thought someone already did that. Okay, I just did the generic URL, youtube.com/LWTDB/live. That'll always go to the current show. And I'm gonna try copying that URL that somebody put into chat and see if what that takes me to. It's the same title, and I'm gonna wave my hand on that URL and see if. Yeah, the one that when I used that URL that's in the Zoom chat, it started streaming 3 minutes ago. No, I'll click on that directly and show it on screen. Yeah. Yeah, me too.
thing saying his chat's running to take you there.
Oh,
All right, just
Brian,
by click. I wait a minute.
it's your computer, Brian. It's haunted,
Yeah,
or
it's
your
gotta be.
browser.
All right, and up until 2 seconds ago, your Zoom audio was not going out over the stream. But that's weird because I thought I checked it. Ay, caramba. But I did have, in XSplit, I did have the Zoom audio muted. Oh, I know. When I checked it, I was actually hearing you in here, and all right, jeez.
Such a Doug.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Bingo, right on point. I had text messages came in from, I think, Tony and Tim. Yep. So I'll acknowledge both of those. And yeah, I was in the middle of a sentence, and on this screen over here, I got a blue screen, and I still had XSplit and I still had Zoom, but they were all frozen. I was just in the middle of a conversation, so I don't see anything that happened.
Whatever so you asked them to not run one program,
right? To see if that was the source of the trouble. Now my timesheet is still. Well, that's weird. My timesheet is still showing the weekly timesheet that I was reading from, but I didn't click to go there after restarting. Oh, I know, because it reopened all of my Chrome tabs. When I went to open Chrome, it asked if I wanted to reopen those. Now let's go to this one where you're seeing Zoom. I'm very nervous that I will accidentally bring up this screen where I'm showing my timesheet. Now let's get down to Wednesday, and it was the second time slip for Wednesday. It was that deletion I did of the duplicate time slip, the one that was double charging for 10 minutes. It's back.
Bet I know why, because when you deleted it, it didn't sync to the cloud, and it brought back down what it had synced to the cloud before, and that's.
Yeah, and I'm suspecting any changes I make while this weekly time list is in front of me don't get saved until I exit from this page. Now, so getting back to Wednesday, and I will delete that double billing, 10 minutes of double billing. It disappears from the screen. So 11:10 to 12:15. So this test was successful in a few minutes. Review of records. Let's see. I talked to the other person, asked her to use Outlook and WordPerfect without ever opening Practice Master in order to identify whether the trouble is originating in Practice Master. Because at this point in time, I have reason to suspect it might be the source of the trouble. Then I connected to their file server, finding it is in need of manual installation of updates, which could be the solution. So it had a prompt wanting me to click to install updates and restart the server. So I'm thinking, anytime that I've seen a computer that has an oddball symptom and we've got that yellow, orange, red dot saying that it needs to be restarted, I've seen some crazy, weird symptoms. So now I see the server is in that state, but she had told me that she'd already restarted the server that morning before they even called me. But now I find the server is in need of a restart to install updates. So now I'm thinking, well, that's probably the problem. I advised my primary contact person there to have all users exit from all programs so I can install updates during the lunch break. Because remember, we're at this time slip was 11 a.m. to 12:15. They all go on lunch break at 12:30. So it's 15 minutes away from their lunch break. Then I connected remote to one of the attorney's computers because she was out of the office, and her staff does not like to go into her computer. They're not supposed to go to her computer. So I said, I'll connect remotely and I'll shut down her programs. If she gets upset, she can come to me. So I connected to that attorney's computer, exited all her programs, and restarted her computer to install updates because her computer was also prompting for updates. Now, I make a substantial mistake after that. That was 12:15. And my next time slip for them, remember I just told them I'm going to restart the server during their lunch break, which starts at 12:30. My next time slip for them is 1:43 p.m.
Dear God.
Yes. What happened was I had something else divert my attention, and then they called me after they came back from the lunch break because they still had the problem. I had totally forgot to restart their server during the lunch break. So, bad on me. There's no way for me to hide that from them. And my strategy, I do not try to lie about my mistakes or my oversights. I don't tell them, oh, what I did during the lunch break, I guess didn't solve it. I'll have to continue working on it. I said, I'm so sorry. I got distracted with something else and totally forgot.
That's a Doug.
Yeah. And so I told them, okay, I need everybody out of their programs, and I'll go do that work right now. By doing with that policy, it means I never have to cut. When you start lying to people, you have to cover those lies down the road. And when you get caught having told a lie like this type of stuff, there is no recovering your trust or reliability from that. So
reputation, I believe, is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, reputation. Thank you. So I just do not do that. And I think it has built deeper trust for my clients over time. So this 143 to 215, installed updates and restarted server. Noticed as I was watching because I get a lot of the message, a lot of the installing update, when you get the blue background, I still see that remotely. Noticed server failed to install updates and rebooted itself repeatedly.
Oh.
Determined on-site service needed. Did anybody not realize that boom, we know what's going on here. It is not Practice Master. It is not their individual computers. It is not Windows updates on their individual computers. The server is in a looping reboot. So it tried to install the updates, and I saw the message, failed to install updates, and rolling back. Then it came up to the desktop, and I tried to defer updates. I tried to go delay updates because now I'm thinking the server is not getting along with those updates. It's rolling the computer back, which should make it stable until those updates try to install again. I tried to go defer updates and I couldn't get there quick enough. It rebooted while I was there. So I say at this point, on-site service is needed, and there's something seriously wrong with the server.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is the server, quote unquote, an actual like Windows Server 2019, or is it like just a Windows 10 box that you
Good question.
made into like a wannabe server?
Good question. It is the latter. It is a Windows 10 wannabe server. It is a peer-to-peer server. So it's just a regular Windows 10 computer that nobody uses as a workstation. Okay.
My second question is, do you think you would have had this issue had it been an actual Windows Server operating system server?
Yes. Yes, I do, because of what I know at this point. It's also what I don't know at this point. I do not think in this case that would have saved it. Now, why do we have a Windows 10 computer functioning as a peer-to-peer server? Because we don't need any true server operating system in this environment. All this computer is doing is it's file sharing. And we do have multi-user programs that are installed on the server, but they are allowed to be installed on a peer-to-peer server. It's okay. It's a cost savings to not have a real server operating system. And this computer is, even as Windows, all of the computers in the office are similarly very old. This is a very old computer. And if we had been routinely replacing computers like every 5 years, I don't think we would have this trouble. I think the trouble on this server is probably motherboard or CPU. I don't care. I did not pursue it. At this point, I said, this computer is not worth repairing. It is old enough. It is not worth repairing. With this type of a problem, this is not a routine problem that I can say I've seen dozens of times before, or even two times, or even once before. Let's see, Ken. Tony just gave me another text. Never mind, it was me. I guess he just found us again. Maybe he hasn't. Maybe he didn't catch us right away. So let me continue on with this, because there's actually more worth telling about this experience. Because what did I do next? Okay, I got a server now that is spontaneously rebooting, unable to install updates, unable to stay up long enough for me to even defer updates. Because when it rolled them back, it should have rolled back to a updates not downloaded state. I don't know that because I couldn't even get into the update screen to see whether it was prompting for a restart or not.
Did you try safe mode?
I was just thinking that. Safe mode.
I was contemplating doing that. I was thinking that would be the next thing that I would do with this computer, but my evaluation that this computer is just too old to spend any time trying to solve. So I never even tried safe mode. And I felt at that point my path to get a temporary interim access to their files functional, I felt I had better prospect at that than fixing this obsolete server in a reasonable time. If I continue trying to deal with this server, that's an unknown. But if I take their backups to another computer and deal with getting them access to their files, I felt that was a more known quantity, something that I could be confident about getting an acceptable result. That time slip where I was working remotely was ended at 2:15. The next time slip starts at 2:38. So 20 minutes later, 18 minutes later, I'm on site. Performed on-site diagnosis determining server is not immediately repairable. Developed and implemented temporary workaround by using another person's computer in the office as a temporary server, and reconfigured all workstations as needed. Assistance is needed from essential forms to complete that configuration tomorrow. So this is a program, essential forms, I did not mention yet. It is a multi-user program, and I was going to need their assistance for getting them access to that. The person's computer that I used as an interim server was a senior attorney who has been phasing herself out of the business. And she rarely uses this computer. When she uses this computer, she's connecting remotely to it to use it. At that point in time, I wasn't sure how often she was using it, but I have a close enough relationship with her that I just went ahead and did this. I didn't call her and inform her what's going on. At that point in time, she didn't even know the office had a problem because she's very much not involved these days. And that computer was only slightly less capable than the one we were using as the server. It has 8 gigabytes of memory instead of 16 gigabytes. Other than that, it's pretty comparable. So by
you just restored a Macrium backup?
No, I didn't want to do that because it is and I considered that, and I didn't because it is the same brand computer, but it's not quite the same model. So then I would have driver issues, and I would lose all of the configuration that senior attorney has on that computer. She connects remotely to it. If I restored the backup, I would no longer have that. So I felt I was in better position to just put the data files there, map a drive letter to that computer for their WordPerfect and Microsoft Word, their document files, and get their multi-user programs working on that computer. So, but it was a fair question, Alex. I did consider doing that.
You don't know what it was on a hard drive. It may has a problem on the hard drive itself.
Yeah, and the possibility that Macrium Reflect backup might contain whatever because the problem could have been of software nature or operating system. Certainly operating system. The computer was spontaneously rebooting. Was it doing that because of damaged operating system or because of a hardware problem? I think different people might take different guesses and might feel very strongly one way or the other, but I can't see that there's a way to know without further troubleshooting. And I just decided I'm not going to do any more troubleshooting. I want to get this office back up and running. At this point in time, they had 3 people in the office that could not do their normal computer work. They could still interact with emails because that's independent of the server. One of them had a side task of working with scanning their old paper files to digital files. She was able to continue with that. And I think a third person might have turned to do some filing. I'm not sure what she wound up doing. But so 6:15 p.m. is when I clocked out. At that point in time, I was alone in the office. I already had keys to their office. I had keys to that office for a long time. And so I finished to the point where I had all the workstations functional except for essential forms and 2 other programs, multi-user, that were not quite ready because I needed either tech support or other resources on. But that was Wednesday. So why did I cancel on Friday? Well, we're not done. So on Thursday, 10:25 a.m. to 10:37 a.m., Essential Forums, I called their tech support for assistance with installing on interim server. Now, on Thursday morning, I still did my Fortnite, and I still did Windows Daily. So this time slip, Windows Daily ends, I don't know if I went overtime that day or not. I think I did. On Thursday, yeah, I did do overtime, significant overtime. So anyway, 10:25 is when this time slip starts on Thursday. Essential Forums called tech support for assistance with installing on interim server. Was advised open invoice needs to be paid first. They had an open invoice with them and weren't current. So I called back to my contact person at the office I told her to call them and pay the invoice. Don't use their website. And my contact person happened to be the one who could handle that.
And the hits keep on a coming.
Yeah. So I couldn't, slate out, okay, I'm going to be working the next hour and a half on this because I started work on it and decided, whoop, I can't go any further. They got to pay the bill. So that time slip was 10:25 to 10:37. At 11:38 is the next time slip. So this is 11:38 to 11:45. This time slip is Essential Forums. Receive call from my client that the invoice has been paid for. I called tech support and requested link for reinstalling via email. Now, I didn't know that's the way the reinstall was going to work, because my notes, when I went back and looked at my notes for installing this software, it was installed from CD 12 years ago.
Oh, God.
So that's what my notes about installing this software was. So that's why I figured I got to call their tech support. And I knew already that they had been paying their subscriptions on this because they get updates. This is legal forms that they want to fill out, so they have to keep up to date on this subscription. But they had an open invoice that hadn't been paid yet. So when I just realized that the tech support said, we got to send you a link via email. They told me that when they told me they're on the prior phone call when they said there's an open invoice. So now I'm waiting for that email to come in. And I asked my contact person to let me know when it comes in. That time slip ended at 11:45. My next time slip for them was 12:50 p.m. They're on their lunch break. Remember I told you their lunch break, 12:30 to 1:30. 12:50 p.m. I connected to her computer to check and see if the email was in yet, and yes, it was. It came in while she was on lunch break. So I went ahead and downloaded the install media, completed the installation, and adjusted all the workstations and tested them from 12:50 p.m. to 1:25. This was all during their lunch break. So I got Essential Forums working for all of them during their lunch break. Then, next time slip, Thursday, later in the afternoon, 1:55 p.m. to 2:20 p.m. This one is tagged as time slips. That's their time and billing program. That's how they keep track of their time. The way the office staff does their time, they click on a link that takes them to the web page for time slips. They enter their time slips there. So that's not dependent upon the server. So I've known all along that they can continue entering their time just fine without me fixing anything. But they have an outside bookkeeper who connects remotely to one of the in-office computers, and it has the full installation of time slips, which is dependent on the server. The peer-to-peer server actually has the time slips data files. This bookkeeper connects from the outside to a computer dedicated in the office for her to connect to. She launches the time slips program, which opens the program on the server. When the staff enters their time slips, they don't have to access the program. That just enters to the website. This billing person will periodically import time slips into the program. So I need to get that functional. So this 1:55 p.m. to 2:20 p.m. on Thursday, phone conversation with the bookkeeper about reinstalling time
No audio?
slips. What? What'd you say about audio, Brian?
No audio, or is it me?
I think it's. Do you guys in Zoom hear me?
Audio here.
Yes.
Yeah, they hear. I think. How do I say, Brian? It's you. It's not me. I'm checking this live stream. Testing live stream. I think it's to get that functional. So this 1:55 p.m. to 2:20 p.m. on Thursday, phone conversation with the bookkeeper about reinstalling time
No audio?
slips. What? What'd you say about audio,
What?
Brian?
No audio, or is it me?
Yeah. Okay. So Brian, I could hear Brian's audio on YouTube. So he's not hearing us. It's him. Can somebody tell him in chat that you guys hear Brian? He has muted his microphone. Okay. Now continuing. Okay. So Tina actually called me that day telling me she couldn't get into time slips. I thought that she was only accessing it like twice a month or something like that. I thought I probably had some time to deal with time slips. So she called me complained that she couldn't get into time slip. So she had called the office. Her routine is to ask them if they're having trouble or ask them to restart the computer that she connects remotely to. And they told her to call me. So here my note says, began researching how to complete transition of time slips to the interim server, determined plan, and then I called the senior attorney, the one that I was using her computer as the interim server, and explained to her what I'm doing using her computer. So that time slip just says I developed the plan, but I didn't pursue it any further that day because my recollection is time slips was based on the East Coast and it was 2:20 p.m. and I think I had other things on my plate at that time too. And so I was intending to pursue that the next day, which was Friday. So the next day, Friday, I need to hit the road working on time slips. And that's why I canceled both Fortnite and Windows Daily. Let's see, what else do I have? Okay, so here's Friday. And even at that, even with canceling those shows, I didn't get started Friday until 9:45 a.m. is when my time slip for them started. Connect old server hard drive to lab computer. I had their old server hard drive here in the lab. It's around here somewhere. It's inside. It's inside Big Beast Build because I connected it internally to Baby Beast. So connect old server hard drive to lab computer, research method and options to reconfigure access for Tina timeslips access, and installed timeslips on the interim server. So that was 2 hours and 4 minutes. And what I wound up finding, I thought I was going to need their tech support because when we first installed this program, they connected remotely to our server and installed it. But when I went, I called their tech support number, went through their menu system. There was like 4 different levels of menu system. The last level was choosing which software product. Would they handle a couple dozen software products? Timeslips is only one of them. So I finally got to their menu system, and it told me to get tech support from them to launch the program, which I couldn't do because the server went. Even the bookkeepers in office computer couldn't launch time slips. They will launch time slips and get an error message because the server wasn't there. But anyway, they told me to launch time slips and use the chat feature from the help menu, or go to the website and use the chat feature in there. So no phone support. This program costs a few $1,000s per year subscription, and there's no direct phone support. So I go to their website and actually find their knowledge base, their system on their website. It's pretty good to get through. I can get to how to move time slips from one computer to another, and they primarily say do a backup from within the program, the time slips program, do a backup and then restore it after installing the new program. But then they also had an option how to copy the files directly across. Part of this process, I needed to go find where is the backup because I knew the outside bookkeeper periodically does a backup within the program. So I go looking through the old drive to find those backup files, and I find that it hasn't been done since December of 2019. So it looks to me that the outside bookkeeper is supposed to do this backup before and after processing the monthly billing. So I'm assuming she has dropped the ball. She stopped doing that. And I'm thinking I want to call her and ask her if she's still doing that, but this person is a little, she's quick to assume that I'm criticizing her. So I have to be careful about how I word it. So I do wind up calling her and I say, I need to ask you a question, and I want to give you a heads up. Don't panic. If regardless of whether your answer is I'm still going to be fine, I'll still be able to solve this. But I need to ask you this question to determine which direction I go. And I say, I recollect that you were doing backups before and after doing the monthly billing, but I'm not finding them. It doesn't look like that's been done for a long time. Are you not doing that anymore? And I'm figuring she's probably going to tell me that, oh, no, I'm not doing that. But I wanted her to not feel like the whole office is going to be a disaster because she's not doing it, right? So I knew I could get around that even if if she hasn't been. And she said, no, that's not true. I've been doing it. I do it every time. Every time I do invoicing. So I go, oh, that's great. There's just something wrong with how I'm going about finding it. And what I discovered is that the current version of the program, after it's gone through multiple updates, is storing those backups in a different location with a different extension than what my notes indicated. So once I discovered where they're being stored, I went there and I found them. Yep, they are up to date and current. So now I call back to her and I let her know, look, I found the backups that you've been doing and I can use those. But the last backup was 3 weeks ago when you did the last monthly billing. But at this point in time, I'm aware that she's going into the program a couple days a week doing work. I don't really know what she's doing that she'd be doing that outside of the billing cycle. So I asked her, if I restore the backup from 3 weeks ago, is that a big problem to you? The work that you've done since then, would that be difficult for you to re-enter? She says, yeah, that would be very difficult. I don't know that I can even figure out what I need to do to accomplish that. So I'm hearing background noise from somebody in Zoom. Could you mute yourself, whoever has some background noise? Oh, there it is. It's Jim. Okay, I muted you, Jim. And you have your YouTube audio. So where was I at? Oh yeah. So I abort the idea of restoring the backup and look further onto their website, and they do have a place how to copy the data from the old drive to the new drive. I don't have to have the backup. So I go find that data. Turns out there's one data file. There's 2 other files in that folder, but they are not data files. There's a sample database, and was something else that's irrelevant. There's only one .db file. So I copy that to the new server on Friday, and that got me partway through Friday. At that point in time, the office staff can enter their time slips. The bookkeeper knows that she's not going to be able to do her work for a few days, and I was kind of burnt out on Friday, so I didn't finish it yesterday. I'm going to finish that over this weekend. I got to install time slips on the interim server and get the access to the database file and let her know that, and that just doesn't feel very time consuming to me at all.
Another question for you, Doug.
Yeah.
I know you probably don't want to go down this road at this point, but all this software that you keep referring to, is there completely cloud versions of this software or alternative that they could use just the same, so you wouldn't have to have a server on site running, be having all these problems?
There may be. I have not looked into it for Essential Forms. However, I have another office that I think is using Essential Forms on the cloud or a comparable product. I have not been happy with cloud-based software of programs that can run in-house. I would not want to recommend that for them, in part because the software that they're using is all capable of running on a pure server. I've always found it to be the case that the cloud version is substantially different, and there's a learning curve for the clients that go to the cloud version. And some of them eventually wind up liking it better, some of them don't. Every time I've been involved in the transition to a cloud version, that has been client driven, never by my recommendation. I might give my thoughts and impressions and try to manage expectations by telling them some things about it. I have another law office where they have a software that is run from their server, but they also have a cloud version that uses the same server data. So we have implemented the cloud version. It costs a subscription per user, and it's prohibitively expensive. They don't want their staff in the office to use that, but they subscribe to it for 3 people in the office. That cloud version of accessing the same data is very, very different in operation. So much so that one of the attorneys refuses to use it. She still connects remotely to her office computer when she wants to use that program. The other 2, younger, more adaptable, they are using the cloud version.
So you got a hybrid situation going on where you got the data files on site and in the cloud. You don't have it all in the cloud.
Right.
But at least if something happened to their internet, they still could access their data to work with it off the server.
Well, the people who are in the office, yeah.
Yeah.
People that are trying to access through the web, no, they wouldn't be able to. Yeah. So you got that. I haven't looked at chat.
Do all your businesses have, this is probably a stupid question, have actual business SLAs with the ISP so that if something does happen to the internet, it's lickety split instead of having to wait 2 or 3, 4 days?
Yes, the office that I just described that has the hybrid software, they do have a service level agreement with their internet service provider. Their internet service provider is a specifically business oriented, I call it a managed service provider, meaning I don't have access to the router. I think I could request a restricted level access because I would like to check sometimes and see what devices are connected, what IP addresses are assigned, things like that. But they manage and monitor in that case. When the office experiences any internet down trouble, like I have a power outage at 2 a.m., I'll get an email from them letting me know about it. They are on top of it, but that's the only office I have with that type of a configuration. The rest are all AT&T or Comcast.
One of the things I enjoy about my new router that I've got since I got the fiber is the ability to have an app on my phone and be able to tell whether or not the router's online. And so because I can tell whether or not the router's online, I can tell if the router's offline or the power's out of the house without even having to be at the house.
Oh, cool.
So the other day when the church lost power and we was at church, I was able to look on my phone and tell, hey, we still got power at our house.
Cool. And another kind of a closely related thing is a device that Mike Smith was talking about for a period of time about a device that you could connect through the internet to reboot a device. And it's, think of a smart power strip that you could reboot devices. Let me go to chat because I haven't been there at all since we restarted the stream. So I'm just going for the orange ones. did you restart server and what did it do? That's back when we were talking about that and update the server. So we're all caught up with that. How many clients are trying to connect to the server at once? Oh, that office has like 1, 2, 3, 4 computers plus the bookkeeper. So 5 plus the outside attorney, senior attorney 6. John Williams, remember my network switch went bad, so I ordered a new one that is unmanaged. I just noticed the new switch is getting hot. Should I send it back for a different one? If it's a switch that has a fan built into it, it's normal for them to get to a certain level of heat. Whether it's excessive amount of heat for that switch, you'd have to research that. I don't know offhand. I have had network switches in office environment where the fans get really noisy. Should I send it back for a different one? If they, let's see, unmanaged, I just know switch is getting hot.
Define hot. That's
define hot. And does it have a fan in it? How much traffic are you sending through it? I don't normally notice switches get hot unless they're like 24 port and above.
Now, I've been running a 16 port gigabit switch for I think close to a decade. It's the same switch.
Yeah.
And it definitely gets warm. It's not like, ouch, my hand will burn if I hold it on there, but it's definitely a little warm. It's been running for a decade.
Yeah.
Some people have a low definition of what's hot.
I've got a 16 port switch up here with only 5 connections, and it's a little warm. Out of context, are you playing tonight? Yes, I'm playing. I'm assuming that was to me about Fortnite. Might be somebody else.
About the router reboot thing, my router actually has, and the extender that I got, both of them have a router reboot automatic function built in. So I could set both the router and the extender to reboot every day at 3 a.m. in the morning if I wanted to, and it would automatically do it. But of course, I don't want to do that.
All right, very good. All right, give me a little bit here to catch up with chat. Hitting the orange items. Speedy C, Doug, could you use a mini PC as server at that office? Yes, we could. Not a NAS though, because it's not just file sharing. The software that is multi-user server-based needs a Windows operating system. But yeah, I have contemplated mini PCs as servers. I don't have any out there right now. I do have quite a few mini PCs mounted on the back of monitors. Let's see, looking for oranges. Yeah, and emojis. Benjamin Denny. Hello, Benjamin Denny. What do you use to keep track of your own time slips? I use QuickBooks Online. My little bit of a tone or attitude behind that, I used to use QuickBooks Desktop, and then they stopped that, so I switched over to QuickBooks Online. I am not a big fan of it. I've had lots of troubles with. So that's it's an example of a web-based software that I used to use desktop version. That it was a huge learning curve, completely different animal, completely different how it even, in a sense, handles some bookkeeping concepts or accounting concepts than how they did it in the desktop version. So that's the answer there. Let's see, we've got a simple computer guy looking at the emojis here. Any device that has a fan, you need to make sure it gets regular maintenance, that the fan is running as should. Fans get dirty, they slow things down and heat things up. I do not do regular maintenance on fans. So I'm disagreeing there. On my Synology router has a reboot function. I believe it can be accessed remotely or on a time basis, and who knows what other features are available to me. I've got that. Okay, I'm caught up with the emojis. Normal backups generally don't exist. I guess that was back on that prior conversation. Okay, so if there's anything I missed in there that you want me to respond to, then hit me in orange. Back to Zoom. So I finished, well, yeah, hour 45 minutes into the show, and I finished one topic. Disastrous. No, I didn't finish one topic, because that was topic number 8. Discuss 3 client emergencies. I've only discussed one of them. There were 3 that were contributing to that Friday.
Just say the other 2 were identical.
The other 2 are identical. Because of course they were.
But that would probably be lying, because we all know they probably are not. They probably all take an hour to explain, though.
No, they wouldn't. The other 2, I think, are quicker explanations, and they're kind of intriguing. Okay, yeah, here. So this one started on Tuesday. Was that the same day that the law office one started? No, the law office one started Wednesday. So this one started Tuesday. So when the law office situation came up, I was already involved with this one. Oh, yes. So this one on Tuesday, time slip 331 to 354, phone and remote support regarding Outlook symptom. Determine the computer has damaged operating system or virus infection. Wrong. When I say determined, the computer has damaged operating system or virus infection, turns out I was wrong about that, and needs lab work service. So in that phone conversation, I said, we can't, I need to bring this into the lab. And when I connected remotely to him, well, what he described the problem as is a whole bunch of Outlook emails opened up, and he can't close them. He just can't do anything with it. I connected remotely, and I see just a whole slew of Outlook emails open, and I try to get, I can't get Task Manager opened. I can't close anything. I can't accomplish. I can restart the computer, but when he launches Outlook, this happens again. All these emails open. So I'm figuring he's got something wrong with the computer. Maybe the operating system damage or virus infection is what I said there. So that was 331 to 354. The next time slip, which starts at 4:13 p.m., okay, about 15 minutes later, I'm at his home office, picked up the computer from home office for lab work. Then the next time slip is, I picked it up ending at 4:13 to 4:25. At 4:44, I start work on the computer. I clean out the inside of the case. So I do clean out fans when I have them in my possession. I don't go out to an office and clean out fans just as routine maintenance. I guess that's a clarification about my fans comment.
So you don't clean out fans in your big beast or baby beast field?
No, haven't done that. I don't think I've done that yet.
Well then that would be wrong then, because you always have big beast or baby beast in your possession.
Okay, but it's not coming in here for service. It's not a client's computer coming in for service.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just messing with you.
You're okay. I get you. So this one, clean the inside of the case, then began backup image of current state of hard drive. First thing I do is I boot it to Macrium Reflect, thumb drive, and I make an image backup without even trying to replicate the symptom here. So that's 4:44 to 5:09. And then 5:30 p.m., same day, to 5:40 p.m., so 10 minutes. Began recovery work, began system restore to June 6th. So I get it started into recovery mode, go straight to system restore. Now, the mistake I made here is I did not try to replicate the symptom. Replicate the symptom would mean start it up into Windows and launch Outlook. I did not do that here. Doug, why are you emphasizing that? Well, because in this case, I consider that to be a mistake. And what I was focused on, I don't recognize this. I haven't seen it before. That also is not true, though. I just didn't realize it at that time. Now, so going on, began system restore. Oh, another reason why I wanted to do this in the lab is this computer was taking a really long time to start up. When I restarted it remotely, it took a really long time. So I've evolved to the point that when a spinning hard drive comes in here, I'm replacing it with an SSD. I don't care if the drive's functional or not. Is that completely? Well, anyway, that's my story, and
that's my reflex too.
Yeah. There may be some occasions where I might not do that, but in this one was taking so long to start, and he told me it's been running so slow. And okay, moving on. Next one is, well, here I'm obviously have the wrong date because this is showing it started at 10:51 a.m. on Wednesday, and it's 1 minute. I think this was actually must have been on Thursday. Observed excessive hard drive utilization during computer startup. Determined cost of upgrading to SSD is minimal relative to the poor performance of the spinning hard disk drive. And since fresh image backup is available, perform the upgrade, including an internal backup drive. Now, I typed out that time slip in advance. And I say that because I didn't actually do that. I'm saying that I upgrade to an SSD, and I didn't wind up doing that because when I turned to grab my new SSD from my inventory on the shelf over here, I discovered I don't have one. So then I started thinking, is there one around here that I can use even temporarily so that I can work on this? I did not want to do any diagnostic work off that spinning hard drive because it was so slow. It was just operating so slow here in the lab. I emphasize here in the lab because that will be an important point when you discover what was really wrong with the computer. So I called my client and said that, look, I can do work on this, but I'd rather put a new SSD on it that's going to make the computer faster, but I don't have one. Again, I'm not covering myself by lying. That just becomes too much trouble. I don't have one. The quickest it can be here is arriving. I have already ordered it. Even if you don't want it, I need to have it on hand, and I ordered 3 of them. They'll be here. I think it was going to be the next day, but I didn't know what time. So, do you want me to try to get this back to you sooner, or is it okay to wait? He says he can wait. He has Plan Bs available, so he wants me to wait and use the new SSD. So that was on apparently Thursday, 1:30 p.m. to 1:52 p.m. Next. No, it couldn't have been. That had to be Wednesday because I worked on it Thursday. So here's the next time slip. Thursday, 5:45 p.m. to 6:46 p.m. Perform cleanup of operating system and unneeded apps. He told me I can remove any, uninstall anything. There was a bunch of extra stuff opening. There was some kind of he no longer had Google Chrome. It was some other perversion, helper Chrome or some kind of weird name, and I don't remember what it was, but it was not Chrome, and it was obviously some junkware program. This guy tends to get junkware programs on his computer, not knowing how it happens. He clicks without reading. So
No,
I
that
was,
never happens.
yeah,
That
I was pretty sure something that was running was causing the problem. So I performed cleanup of operating system and unneeded apps, performed image backup of the clean system. So I did another Mac and Reflect there. And then the next one was on Friday. On Friday, I delivered the computer to the client after lab work, 3:09 p.m. to 3:27 p.m. So there at his home, reconnecting everything up. I drove 2 miles away and he calls me with a, let's see. Oh, no, I don't have a time slip for him when he called me. He called me that he couldn't print. So I asked him, can we wait till I get home? I can connect remotely and figure out the printing problem. By the time I got home and called him back, he says he's got the same problem with Outlook, with a whole bunch of emails opening up. So here's where we come to the true solution. What was his real problem all along? He's got the same symptom. Now, I did test the computer before I took it back to him. And I was questioning myself whether I actually opened Outlook and tested that. And it turns out, even if I had, the problem was not present. The problem would not have been present. So now I'm giving you that much. The computer's back in his possession, and it's having the same symptom, and that symptom was not present here in the lab. To be honest with you, I can't swear that I did test Outlook, but in hindsight, even if I had, the problem would not have existed here in the lab. And this goes back to what I said earlier, that I did not try to reproduce the problem on his drive because I knew he had that junkware. I was suspecting there's something about the operating system or virus or something like that. And I just wanted to get it switched over to an SSD and clean it up. But even if I had tried to reproduce the symptom, I would not have been able to. I'll go catch up in chat and give people a chance to tell me what they think, what they would have done next. He's got the problem again now that it's in his possession. Oh, let's see. We're scrolling back up for oranges. I agree too long on the words. Oh, this looks like the old chat. Is that?
Yeah.
I agree too long on the words of Jim KJ3N. That's the old chat. How do I have the old chat?
That's weird.
So there's some things in orange that I didn't get ever to look at on the old chat. How did I get that? Program updates. Did the computer restart or just the programs? So this is going back on the old troubleshooting. Zavi Manor had a cumulative update for .NET framework for Windows 10. Maybe he was thinking that or asking if that was one of the updates that were suspect. Yeah, and here's Zavi, that Big Beast crashed. How in the world is that even open? No. Restore this chat. This is the current show. Pop out chat. Man, totally weird. Now I have both of those chats popped out and accessible. Now, what software to use? I already did that. Orange. QuickBooks Desktop still exists 2023. I use it, but they charge me yeah, and I think it's $600 a year I don't think you can just buy it and keep using it. I think it's a subscription. Online version cost me the same. It was an oops for my part. Didn't read the fine print. Could simply stayed on the last perpetual version from Ida. Yeah, I have clients who are using a very obsolete perpetual version if they're not using payroll. If they're not doing payroll, they can still be using it. Text message here from Tony. What's that about? Come on. You crashed earlier. Yes. Lawn Dog, not to get sidetracked, but what about regular maintenance? All these computers, I mainly talk about keeping the dust and dirt out of the power supply. I don't do that. I have perhaps the reason why I get away without doing that is when I come across a computer that is severely dust impacted, the processors they're low-end computers that my clients need and use. I don't buy them, I don't get them high-end computers, and they just don't get that hot. And so it's so rarely been a problem. It has occasionally been a problem, not often enough that I want to go out cleaning everybody's computers. And a big part of that is I don't want to do that kind of work. Lawn Dog, well, the SSD you think you are reaching for, I think I found it on my table under a bunch of bills. Next, mouse or keyboard stuck down key-wise from Greg M. And then here's Ryan saying hello. Greg M, you get the prize. That was it. That was the problem with this computer that was opening multiple windows. Oh, Carrie Holzman has a premiere right now. I think I want to shut this down quickly. So what I did to test that is I connected remotely, saw all that stuff open, and when I got the realization that this might be a stuck key on the keyboard, I asked him to disconnect his keyboard, and then I was able to close Outlook. I was able to reopen it, no excess emails opened. It was completely responding correctly when he disconnected his keyboard. Then I asked him to reconnect his keyboard. And then, boom, all this stuff started happening. Disconnect your keyboard again. And then I asked him to multiple times tap the Shift key, Control key, Windows key, Alt key on both sides of the space bar and the Enter key. So all of those keys, I wanted to just tap them multiple times each. And then plug it back in, problem solved.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
That's a cleaning maintenance issue. The guy's been eating cookies and coffee over the keyboard. No, I'm serious. That's why it's sticking.
I have seen that symptom before. Remembering at the beginning of the story, I said, this is something I haven't seen before that I think I don't know, I said somewhere. And yes, I have seen that before, maybe 2 or 3 times before, but a long time ago was the last time that I saw it. But I tell you what, I think I've learned the lesson deeper this time. Strange windows opening, if I can connect remotely to them, have them disconnect their keyboard, and that would have been a quick, easy solution. Now,
you take that keyboard and hold it upside down and shake it, and you're going to watch all the little things falling out of there, coins, walnuts.
Right. Something else I said at the beginning is that am I going to reduce my charge to them? No, I'm not. Some people will say, oh, that's my fault. I should have caught it earlier. I should have thought of that. No, I am bringing my best awareness to my clients' situations. If I get it wrong, I'm still a professional. If you go to a doctor and they do a surgery and it doesn't fix your problem, do they reduce their charges? Probably not. I'm providing professional services. I bring the best job that I can. I will make mistakes sometimes. On the other hand, there'll be times when they call me, they think they have a total disaster, and I fix it in 2 minutes over the phone. Do I charge them more for that? No. It's 2 minutes of a charge. And my clients do get invoices where they get a 2-minute charge. Some people might say you're nickel and diming them to death. No, if I charge them 2 minutes to bring everybody back up to work, and all of their staff were unable to work, is that nickel and diming somebody to death? No, that's a horrendously valuable service that's worth a lot more than that. Now, the people who do service contracts, they charge a flat amount monthly for whatever you need. If they don't have to do much work during that month, well, they've made a really, really good, profit off of that. But sometimes a client will need more than their service during the month. Well, that's just a different way of operating. I don't like that way of operating myself. I like charging for services performed, which is going to include charging sometimes more than what it could have been if I had realized the correct answer sooner. If somebody argues that I should be charging them less for that, then you should also be making the argument that I should charge them more when I spend 2 minutes and get and providing them something that is worth 3 hours worth of my hourly charge. So if you're going to want me to cut it on one side, you got to let me overcharge on the other side when my experience and background brings higher value to the situation. I want to send you out to Carrie's premiere, which is from let's see, what's the Planet Cryos, building a computer in a wooden case. That sounds like a lot of fun. All right, taking a quick look at other oranges here. Nothing there that I'm going to read right now. I will go. Yeah, I see the comment from Zavi that he thinking that we can skip it, but I usually don't get to let this show up on screen for them that I've redirected to the show. So I want to do that, and this is about as long as I want to go anyway. All right. So in Zoom, would you go ahead and say goodbye to the audience, please?
Goodbye, audience, please.
Good night, John Boy.
Bye.
All right. And then I'm going to stop the stream in the YouTube studio, so it's going to send you straight there. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Goodbye.
Thanks, Doug.
Yep. You're welcome.